Welcome to the Wealth Warfare Podcast, your frontline for financial freedom and business success. Led by two former Army Rangers turned financial experts and entrepreneurs, this mission is to arm you with the strategies needed for wealth and business victory. Gear up for actionable insights and the discipline to win. Let's begin the battle. Here's your hosts, Josh and Brian.
All right, there we go. All right, brother. So we got Austin on from Syllaby.io and Socialty Pro, and we're just going to have a chat with him today about how he got to where he's at, and let's kick it off, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, man. Happy to have you on. But yeah, man, like we were saying, how did you kind of get into marketing, before we get into all the cool stuff about AI and all that?
Yeah. So I kind of stumbled into it when I was about 14 years old. I got on MySpace at the time and stumbled into different communities on there that were promoting each other's profiles to get lots of followers. And something about that was really interesting to me, I guess. and yeah, so I jumped in all in on that. That was 19 years ago now. I've been doing social media marketing pretty consistently since that. And that led to so many amazing opportunities. I mean, for years I was on MySpace and monetizing it and almost doing the same thing that I'm doing now, which is crazy, like growing profiles and then having a friend build websites and then using my following on MySpace to promote those websites, which is hilariously the exact same thing I'm doing 19 years later.
Yeah,
but it
cool,
was
a
really cool way to do lead generation and promote local bands and t-shirt companies in really early e-commerce stuff. And then fast forward to about 10 years ago, I moved out to Orange County, California, where I started working as an intern at a video marketing agency that specialized in the behavioral health space. And really loved that and moved my way up from an unpaid intern to a paid intern to a part-time employee to a full-time employee. And then that led me to ultimately working and being head of digital marketing at several drug and alcohol treatment spaces because I really developed a specialty in the behavioral health industry. And then fast forward to about 5 years ago, my boss at that agency became my business partner at Socialty Pro. So Socialty Pro was my first business that is an organic focused digital marketing agency. So web design, SEO, organic social media marketing. And that's where I really started to grow and explode on social media again. So there was MySpace, and then I was kind of like behind the scenes for many years until I was the business owner again and wanted to kind of be the face of my business and brand. And I went into that with the sort of idea that there's so many marketing agencies out there that don't practice what they preach. They just have like a barren, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn account or whatever. Maybe they have a YouTube channel, but they don't actually do any marketing themselves. And so that was always super strange for me. Like, it's like an analogy of, you go to the gym, you hire a personal trainer. Who are you going to hire? The really fit person or the, overweight, fat slob that maybe they have some information, not to knock anybody or not to knock agencies that don't practice what they preach, but like that just didn't sit right with me. So I wanted to grow and prove that our strategies work incredibly well. And I grew that to a 7-figure agency with $0 advertising spend, entirely organic marketing. And then that led to Syllaby, which is about a little over a year ago now, January 1st of 2023. We formed the company. We launched it January 25th. So we're about a year and a month into launching Syllaby now. And that's basically an AI tool that streamlines everything that my agency does. So we saw that a lot of the same problems that business owners were facing, they know they need to create content online, but they don't know what topics to create. They don't know what to say on camera. Maybe they hate being on camera. They need help staying consistent and accountable. They hate video editing, and but they don't necessarily have the funds to hire an expensive marketing agency or hire internal staff, depending where they're at in their business. So that's what we wanted to do. I wanted to streamline everything that an agency does into an AI software tool for. It's literally 100 times cheaper than what my agency costs. And so Syllaby has been an amazing experience, my first startup, if you will. So that's kind of the last 19 years in 3 minutes.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. So what made you make the decision to choose AI to be the kind of the, I guess, the next step for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm a sci-fi nerd. I love science fiction, anime, sci-fi shows, sci-fi movies. And so like, as I was creating content in, organic, like on TikTok and YouTube and whatnot, a big part of my content strategy was sharing useful websites for business owners and entrepreneurs.
Dude, that's how I come to found you.
Everything.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been doing that for about 4.5 years, or so. Sharing useful websites for business owners. And then I guess about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago now, whenever it was, DALL-E 1 came out, a text to image generator tool from OpenAI. It was really their first tool that came out. I started seeing some content and some posts about that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're now entering the AI era. It's here. This is, I just saw the horizon. And it was a natural pivot for me to switch from, sharing useful websites to useful AI websites. And the market really just kind of went with me, which was just fortunate. And now there's like tens of thousands of AI websites out there now. And so that's kind of, I was just super interested in the space. I love tinkering with different websites. I love testing different software tools out, finding different use cases and hacks that I could use personally and kind of test them. And then we tested them with clients. And then I just kind of excitingly share them in my content. That's been my whole thing. It's just kind of sharing my journey along the way. That's been a big part of why I create content. And I think why it's been successful is because people love the transparency. I'm not like holding anything back. You don't need to purchase anything from me.
Yeah.
I just
it's not like you're not trying to sell people on anything, right? You're just like, hey, I found this tool. You guys can use it or not. It's up to you.
Yeah. So the catch with that is I am an affiliate for a lot of the tools. And so that is how I make a lot of money from promoting other tools. But, you don't have to use my links. You can just go to the website and sign up. It kind of works itself out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
So what about for like, in development of the next tool? So, when DALL-E dropped, I remember like the signups were coming out like, hey, register with this, or when GPT-4 was about to be released, like, hey, sign up, get on the waiting list. So for the next phase, what do you think that's going to look like?
Well, I think it's going to continue to be as it has been for at least another year or two until things integrate into AR and VR, probably. And then who knows what's going to happen with Elon's like Neuralink chip to have AI implanted in our brains.
That'd be insane, dude. Because you can with all the plugins now, just with ChatGPT, it would be insane, man, to be able to link all of that together.
Yeah, I think we're gonna over the next maybe some this year, but definitely within 2 or 3 years, we're gonna start to see AI implemented more into hardware. I think that's going to be the next shift, and that's going to really bring it, out of our phones, out of our laptops, and into everyday life even more.
Well,
that's going to be the next shift.
Just on that note, I saw some type of device. I'm sure you've seen it too. I think it's called the Rabbit, and you just click a button on the side, and it has a little camera on it, and it's all it is just AI. That's it.
Yeah. Multimodal too. You can, take a picture of it or real time, lens on there, and it'll detect what's happening or what it's looking at. Really cool stuff. I mean, I have I don't know, I think they're in another room, but the Meta AI smart glasses, the Ray-Ban glasses. And they're pretty cool. They're like, there's a built-in assistant, AI assistant in your ear.
Yeah.
And it can take photos and videos and live stream. And they promise a multimodal software update on that as well, which I'm really looking forward to. Because right now it's like, it's kind of cool. I don't actually use it that much, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to that multimodal feature where I can just be like, hey, Meta, what am I looking at here? And it'll be like, this is the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. And it'll just give you history, information, and whatnot. And it'll translate languages on menus and signs.
Once it gets this update,
they shared. Yeah. So that's what they've promised. We'll see if they actually deliver on that and how soon they deliver. But
yeah, that's
what I'm really excited about.
Cool, man. So like I said, for Syllaby, so what do you think the next step is for you guys at Syllaby?
Yeah, so it's Syllaby, just a heads up.
Syllaby, okay.
We're constantly working on improving the features that we currently have, making it as user-friendly as possible. And then, so right now, like we're about to roll out a video editor that's really powerful. We spent the last 4 months building a custom video editor in-app so that anybody can use it. So that's coming out this week, actually. So when this episode drops, it'll most likely be live.
Okay.
So basically there you can create, you can find unlimited questions that your customers are searching for in any industry with data to back it up, generate video scripts around all of those questions, create the videos with AI avatars. We just released talking photos. So you can like upload a headshot of yourself or an animated character and it moves the lips and the head. So it's talking. You can clone your own voice in Syllaby now. So you can create those avatar videos or faceless videos with your own voice. And then you can edit the videos however you want. It's a very simple editor like CapCut, very intuitive web-based editor. And then we already have social media scheduling and publishing. So you can connect your social media accounts and schedule those videos directly to your social media channels. And we also have analytics already built in as well. So when you publish a video from Syllaby, you can see the analytics, the likes, the comments, the engagement on there. And we really want it to be a one-stop shop for business owners that don't need to pay and have like 5 different softwares to do all of these things. We've really streamlined all of it into one platform, one proven repeatable process. We're also working on expansion of faceless videos. That's coming out really soon too. So no avatar, no, talking photo or anything like that. More of the Minecraft videos that you see on TikTok, where it'll be like jumping videos or car racing videos, and then there'll be subtitles on screen or like ancient Egyptian facts, and it'll be pictures of pyramids and ancient Roman rulers and Egyptian rulers and whatnot. So yeah, fun stuff there, and then some other crazy stuff that we're thinking through and doing some user interviews on. But
yeah. So eventually, man, what I think is going to happen is AI is going to get to the point where it can become, so you know how I always get blown up, man, I'm sure you do too. Like, hey, do you need a virtual assistant? Do you need a virtual assistant? So I think eventually, and I think it's going to be within the next couple of years, maybe sooner, but I think that we're going to have virtual assistants that can kind of take over that role, schedule things for people, take phone calls, respond to emails, respond to texts, everything.
Yeah, we're not far off from that. I could even see that happening this year. We're only in February, 10 months. I mean, all of those pieces are kind of there. There's Air AI. That's a AI cold caller that you can train. There's AI scheduling softwares. Gemini, Google Gemini now connects to all Google products. Apple's going deep in the AI space as well. And basically you just need like a central hub that connects all of these things together. And then absolutely you could train like a crazy virtual assistant to actually execute on a lot of these things. I mean, you could arguably even do that with with ChatGPT, the phone app. So like you can press the audio, button and like tell it what you want it to do. And then if you're on Pro, you can connect it with Zapier, for instance, which connects to other websites. So you could kind of jerry rig something like this now. It's only going to get more popular though, I think, and easier to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a good call.
So for Apple, so say Apple's, I think then, like you said, the next thing's going to be VR, AR, kind of augmented reality stuff. And I agree with you, but do you think Apple getting in and kind of jumping into that space when there's been, I can't remember, I think it's HTC for the longest time, and then, Meta dropped theirs. But I think Apple joining the space is going to kind of, not immediately, but I think maybe this year. I don't know, man. Everything just grows and changes so fast. But I think that that's going to kind of kickstart, oh, hey, we need to do VR and AR.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen with the Apple Vision Pro how well adopted it's been at a crazy price point. The thing's like $3,000, 3,500, and Apple has like what 90% of the cell phone market. Like I am an Android user, but their adoption in the United States alone of who all uses Apple products and Apple phones is absurd. So when they release a much more affordable version of the Apple Vision Pro, I think it's going to be a game changer. It's going to take over everything.
Yeah.
Because like Meta Quest is pretty good, but like nobody really seems to care about it that much. Right? Because it's like, it's affordable. It's like $350, $400 or whatever, less than 500. As soon as Apple releases something that's like sub $1,000, I think it's going to get mass adopted, and you're right, it's going to push the whole industry forward.
Also, I think one of the biggest things, man, is form factor. So nobody wants to wear something that sticks out like 2 feet from your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think once we kind of develop the technology to get to work everything down to where it's just a pair of glasses, it's over.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, Meta's doing some interesting stuff there. The AI Meta glasses are pretty cool. The Ray-Bans, they've had that partnership for a while. Once they work that in, I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So the initial use is, I mean, you could basically just take videos and do stories and stuff like that, right?
You can take pictures. You can record up to 60 seconds in 1080p. You can live stream, which is the real big benefit of it. For as long as you want. I think I did it like a couple 30-minute spurts. Like I went to a fair, and I did a whole YouTube video in Las Vegas. So I did, I drove a Lamborghini with the AI glasses on.
That's cool.
I streamed it. That was badass. And then it has a AI assistant in the ears. So it's based on their own model, Llama, which is their own ChatGPT model that they've trained. And so you can ask it. It's not up to date information. It's up to like 2022 or something like that. So it's a little outdated. But you can ask it, summarize this book or give me information about X, Y, and Z. Ask it math problems. You can ask it anything that you want. And as long as it's information that's pre whatever the cutoff date is, it'll answer it in your ear. So it's pretty useful. And you can activate it just by saying, "Hey Meta." So it is much faster than pulling out your phone and then doing a Google search or even a ChatGPT search in the app.
Hey, Austin, I got a question for you.
Sure.
What do you? So I've been. It's kind of a two-part question. So are you involved in crypto? Do you follow crypto at all? It's more for our audience, our listeners. But with crypto and other things out there, and now this AI technology that you just talked about, which is incredible, going to be great. However, I mean, I just saw a TikTok. I was watching this weekend, and someone made. So my biggest concern, maybe you can give us some value to listeners, is with all this technology coming out, deep fakes, and I mean, they did a video on Cinderella's castle burning down at Disney World, and it looked completely real with news
Wow.
coverage. You know,
Wow.
until you go into the comments and you start looking at it, and they're like, "I was just there this weekend. There was no fire, but they like said it was a total loss and everything, and it looks so real." And you know, with scammers and everything out there, and do you think? I mean, I kind of know how crypto is going to play a role with trying to verify ownership, and that it was actually Austin Armstrong who released that video, and it's legit, not someone else using your AI voice. Do you have any advice, or what's your thoughts on that whole spectrum?
Yeah, so I'm not super deep into the Web3 blockchain crypto space. I hold crypto, so I've been I am definitely a believer in it. I've been investing in crypto since 2017, so I have been holding for a long time. I've seen all of these ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I purposefully stay out of that space because unfortunately, uh, when you get to be sort of an influencer status and you have a lot of followers, people pretend to be you. They create fake profiles of you, and they will even steal all of my posts and post them so it looks like it's my account. And then they will message people and do crypto scams
Yep.
and say, I started this new. So for those reasons, I don't create any content. I don't really dive down that rabbit hole and talk about it that much because I don't want to confuse people even more. I don't want to let people be more susceptible for scams right now.
Yep.
That being said, absolutely. To some degree, crypto, much more, I imagine blockchain technology. From my understanding of it, is that's how it works, right? There's a complete transparent flow of where something came from, where it was transferred to, what its original origin is, where it was uploaded, and with the NFT space and all that stuff. Like that's the flow of it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure as we get more and more into the AR VR space, Web3 components are going to be much more integrated. Will crypto be the exclusive currency for making purchases in an AR VR world? I don't know. I have no idea yet. Will you be, because right now there are AR VR platforms and it's still, traditional currency. You link up your PayPal account, you link up your credit card, your Apple Pay, your Google Pay, whatever, and you pay for it that way. Maybe you can pay via crypto, but the vast majority of people are still paying in the traditional sense. Will that completely switch over? I don't know. I don't have a fair answer for it.
So another thing that I think is going to happen too is with all this AI and the deep fakes and stuff. I think eventually all content and pretty much everything across the board, every account that you have online that's digital will have to be verified somehow. It's kind of like how Facebook's doing, how Twitter's doing. Hey, this was verified from this account. If it's not verified, then it wasn't him, or if it's not licensed. So maybe they could do something to where, hey, we can use your likeness for this, and then there'll be a license attached to it, or something letting people know that, hey, this was basically it's legal and it was blessed off on by the person that endorsed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I don't think that you should be required to pay for verification in order to do that, though.
Either.
That, so because like LinkedIn does not charge you for verification right now. It's a free process.
Yep.
I love how they've done it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's paid verification on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter right now. YouTube verification is also free, but you have to have over 100,000 subscribers. Or be like a celebrity or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The real verification, not the paid verification. Yeah, I think watermarks are another thing as well that can be explored. Now, deepfakes are already digitally watermarked; they're just kind of invisible. So you have to look at sort of the code of the video,
like metadata and stuff.
Yeah, to detect if it's fake. But like misinformation can be spread so quickly into the human eye, you don't know that there is a watermark there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of regulation passed this year, I think, and I think that it should be. I think it should be heavily regulated. Like that's why I don't know if you guys have seen the clips coming out from Sora, OpenAI's new tool. It is insane. It is almost indistinguishable what it can generate from video quality. It is leagues better than any other text to video tool that's ever been released. It is mind blowing. And so when that they're reviewing that really heavily right now, with experts in every industry, because they don't want to, once they release this tool to the public, all hell is going to break loose. And so they have to put a lot of regulations and restrictions, in place, because like Brian was saying, you can create content that looks incredibly real and is problematic, and it can spread so fast on social media before fact checks come in and say, like this is not real, this is fake. I worry a lot about our upcoming election. With how fast this technology is evolving, and the fact that you can use this technology, like there are brilliant programmers out there all around the world that are developing these models that are not public. They're just using it privately. Like all of the public ones have restrictions on them, but you can build your own model that don't have restrictions. Like there were, when I don't want to dive too deep into it, there were very nefarious images and videos coming out on self-made platforms that there are no restrictions. Dark web type stuff. So, will the public have the ability to create problematic content? Yes and no, but it's the people that are using the private built models that are going to be the real problem, I think. Releasing stuff from other countries, and where America can't really regulate it. It's gonna be scary and interesting. There's already scams happen. People scamming people's parents. It's just pretending to
pretending to be them on the phone.
Hostage.
I've seen that. And that tool that you were talking about earlier, about being the most realistic thing. I remember the video you posted. I think it was probably one of them, but it looked like, this woman walking down the street on these like old bricks. It looks like something out of a movie. It was absolutely insane.
Animation style. There's one, I think the craziest one that I've seen so far is the perspective of a woman on a bus looking out the window. And so you can kind of see her reflection in the glass. You can see out. It looks real. There are still some like little imperfections, like that video you just mentioned of the woman walking. Like if you really look at her legs, you can kind of see like there's an extra step, and it kind of weirdly, generates. And it's one of those things like it appears so real, but then the closer you look at it, you start to notice little things. But the woman on the bus, like you can't see. It is almost indistinguishable. If I were to go in the subway and press record on my phone, the video would be the same. Just mind blowing.
I mean, because it could even get to the point where, if it, like you said, if it's not regulated or not controlled in any way, hey, there's a state of emergency in California saying, hey, everybody needs to stay inside, don't go outdoors. There's some poisonous gas in the air, and then 100%. Whoever's out there, maybe they go and rob, 17 banks in that time. You know what I mean? It's just scenarios that can happen, or
there's so many,
I think that, unfortunately, most people would comply with it because of what happened during the pandemic, because they don't want that to happen again. They're like, oh man, or some people would be like, screw it, I don't care.
People are very easy to manipulate, and with how fast the information is spread on social media, all it would take is to create a fake news story and just have AI generate multiple perspectives and camera angles.
Like some dude with a cell phone recording the speech, and
cell phone recording, news recording, put it on CNN, put it on Fox News, all of these platforms. Like point of view on a iPhone 13. Like these are perspectives that you can have the same scene but change the perspective so it looks more real and blast that information out there. Like anybody that's listening to this podcast, please don't do that. But you could. When SOAR releases, these are things that you will hopefully not be able to. Hopefully, they're going to heavily regulate this stuff. But
because
I think that's where crypto is going to come in and play a big role. And people think NFT is just a JPEG that people overpay for, but it's the tech behind it, the smart contract that proves ownership of that video. And I think whoever is going to create it, which it might already be getting created right now, but with all the AI out there, and whoever, right now the big chain is Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever, but
Solana.
a cheap, like Sol or Polkadot, whatever currency it ends up happening, where it's only going to cost you 5 cents to make a video and put it on the blockchain, and right away people will go to one site that they know it's real and verified. And then if they see something, like, I think that's where it'll go. Let me just ask you a quick question off topic. Do you follow Gary Vee at all?
I'm a big Gary Vee fan.
So
I've got a couple of his books behind me.
Do you have a VFRIENDS NFT?
I don't. I didn't get into the NFT space.
You said you're in California though?
No, I'm in North Carolina. I used to live in California.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were in California. Well, after this, you can hit Josh or I up. I'm a heavy investor in VFRIENDS, and I might, if you get a chance in August to go to VCon, I might be able to hook you up with a ticket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude.
Well, let's chat more about that. I saw Gary speak in, I think it was 2019, and so heavily and deeply inspired me, and I've kind of modeled a lot of what he's done. I'm a huge Gary Vee fan.
Yeah, and he's just such a genuine person. Like when I first got introduced to him and saw his content come up, it kind of comes off as a little overbearing, and it's like, all right, this dude's trying to sell me. You know what I mean? But as you continue to watch his content, man, he's always just dropping knowledge. He's always trying to help people. He's always giving 100%. Advice. He's always 100%. Giving things away for free, and it's awesome, man.
Yep. Jab, 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 right hook.
Yep.
That's the whole content model. Yeah, I love Gary.
Yep. Yeah, he's awesome, dude.
Yeah. One day I'll meet him.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Putting it out there in the universe.
Yeah. Hey, in August, what's going on, man?
It might happen.
Are you into collectibles or sports cards, Austin?
No, I used to be.
I was just gonna say the biggest to really have access to him. He's not as bombarded as he is at other speaking events or his conference VCon. That this 2024 will be his third one, but he's actually a big card collector, and the National Sports Cards Collectors Convention is going. Is happening in Cleveland at the end of July. Dude, he is totally accessible. I've seen him. I talked to him for 5 minutes alone at that show. Like, he's so personal too. It's like,
that's awesome.
If you ever want a chance, that's the easier place to get him than trying to get him after a great keynote or something.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome tip. I'll have to get more into collecting cards. I collected cards when I was younger. Yeah.
You don't have to go. The ticket's like $10 again for the day, and just go.
Just go to meet Gary.
I'm serious. People hung around his booth, like the VFRIENDS booth, because that's a Pokemon meets Sesame Street card game that he created with VFRIENDS.
Yeah.
And he goes to every Comic-Con and sports. The National is the biggest. What's the National stand for? National Sports Collectors Convention. I think that's the proper term of it. But last year it was in Chicago. This year it's in Cleveland, and then the next 2 years it's going to be in Chicago. He's been at every one because he's been collecting since. Well, you follow him, you heard his story, so
yeah,
that's the best place to have access to them. Just our audience
That's
probably doesn't
awesome.
care
Thank
about
you.
that, but
That's a great tip. No, for sure. That's great.
But yeah, man. So the kind of getting back into the AI a little bit. So, like I said, and I hate to keep bringing up regulation, but I do think it is important, just for this because, I mean, say even if it doesn't get pushed out by the AI, what if the tips and the leads and the sources come from an AI and go to these large, mainstream media or the New York Times, or I know people really don't watch the news and pay attention to mainstream anymore, but if they all got this source from multiple sources, how like it's kind of scary to think about, man, how easy it would be to just feed the news the wrong thing, and then they get all these different places are getting the same story from all these different sources, different perspectives, different viewpoints, like different camera angles. Man, it's kind of spooky to think about.
Yeah. No, that's another good point. You could totally, yeah. You could break, yeah. You could
don't do that, guys. Okay. Do not do that. But it's just, it's how fast the technology is growing. I mean, there's plugins for everything now. Like if you want to be an accountant, take a picture of the income statement, it'll rework it, adjust the balance for you, and spit it out. It's absolutely insane, man.
I mean, I'll have ChatGPT read like contracts and documents for me,
and say, "Hey, read this document and pick out things that stick out or are not in the norms of this contract."
Yeah, red flags.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll use it as like I'll read it, of course. Always read it. Don't like solely rely on AI. But like if maybe I missed something, what are there any red flags? Are there anything I need to pay attention to? Anything sketchy in this document?
Yeah, man, it's insane, dude. And just to think that tool is only going to get better, and people worried about robots taking over their jobs and all that. I mean, we've already seen it. There's a bunch of tech layoffs because of AI. This was back maybe a year ago. It started kind of happening. And then I think just we're now seeing more and more effects of that because you don't have to hire as many people because now they're more capable, which is a good and a bad thing, So it's changing the world as we know it, man. I don't think some people do. I mean, obviously you got with it and kind of, like you said, rode the trend as it became a trend, so you're doing it before it was cool. But
got lucky. That's all.
Well, but it's insane though. Like once that technology was released, how fast it started snowballing and to where it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, even looking back a year ago, how far Midjourney has come, how far Dolly has come, how many new tools have come out, how many unicorn companies have been built on the back of OpenAI's API so far, built upon other AI models, just complete wrapper layer companies that are billion-dollar valuations already, is mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
I mean,
and it's only going to continue to grow faster.
So, I mean, it's going to get to the point, man, where, I mean, engineers, like people designing new cars, it's not going to be people anymore. It's going to be a program that's designed to make the thing the most safest, most aerodynamic vehicle that possibly ever existed.
Yeah, I think there will always be some need for human intervention.
I agree.
There, but I think there will be fewer jobs needed because people that use AI are so much more productive and efficient and can accomplish so much more. One hire will be like hiring 3 different people. And so it'll be much more difficult, but perhaps if you specialize in that, you'll get paid a lot more money because you're, taking up 3 jobs as opposed to just one. Yeah. Once it gets into hardware more frequently, I think that's going to drastically change the world as we know.
I mean, because it could even go as far as, say, a doctor, when they have that visor down, the visor's telling them, hey, it's connected to all the other equipment in the room, and it will guide them and tell them where to put where to cut with the scalpel, that, hey, there's a bleed, going on right here.
Yeah.
And dude, it's going to get crazy, man. Just the kind of the sci-fi rabbit hole you can go down and all the different possibilities, man.
Yeah. It's exciting stuff.
I was doing a little bit of research a couple of years ago about VR and AR, and I actually think we're talking about a lot of scary stuff that can happen, or people are afraid of jobs, or we're talking about deep fakes and verifying stuff. But I also think there'll be a lot of good that comes from it too, because the research that I read in VR, I think personally, was there's a Las Vegas medical center was doing a study, and they're gonna. I don't know if it's being used yet, but I think it's testing and they're trying it. But when you're in a VR world, your brain believes like 99% of what's going on. And they're actually going to be trying to treat like PTSD victims of bad crimes and or schizophrenia, a bunch of disorders that are affected in the brain. And I think there could be some possible good uses, a lot of good uses for it too. It's going to be it's the 1% of, excuse me, of the people that will look to use it for harmful things or bad things. But I'm kind of excited to see if that will come to fruition, or become popular down the road too, and medical advancement.
I love that you brought that up. I mean, so my background's in the behavioral health space again. So we were experimenting with so I love jumping on new technology to just see and like have that early adopter mentality. And so when the 360 cameras were coming out, like around, was that 2016, 2017, something like that, I bought the Yi 360, the YI. Love that camera. And so we were actually doing mock therapy sessions. So like I bought that 360 camera, I jerry rigged it on a hat, and I would sit in therapists' offices, and we would do mock therapy sessions on substance abuse, porn addiction, depression and anxiety, school trauma, or school anxiety type things. And so like you watch it from and I bought the Oculus, or the Oculus Go, the first one, or the Meta, Oculus Go or Meta Go, or whatever the first one was. And you put it on and you're there. You're sitting in front of a real therapist or psychologist in a scenario that's real to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to revolutionize therapy. This is going to be massive. And ultimately it really wasn't. There's a couple startups that have pursued that, anti-smoking and anti-addiction. Like even Dr. Phil had a VR addiction program, which he licensed out to different addiction treatment centers, which is pretty fascinating. But I'm with you, Brian. Like I think I'm an optimist on this tech. Like there's always going to be bad players in everything, no matter what, every advancement. But I think the vast majority of people can benefit from these tools and improve their lives drastically.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. But that's where we got to try to. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how, when they do make laws for it, how they go about it, because then you're kind of handicapping progress with certain rules and restrictions, so it's what at what level do you stop it? What level do you say, hey, this is okay? You know what I mean? So it's going to be a long process, man. But like Brian said, I think, even with law enforcement, it will help with, if they had a Meta glasses, equivalent, but down the road a little bit, that could, tell them how much ammo they have left, say, hey, so we had this thing in Ranger Regiment called a Blue Force Tracker, and it was basically a beacon, and it would show on a map where you were at, or on a system that we used. but you could go around and then it would literally show. So if we had something like that was all integrated, hey, my team's over here, they're about to breach this door, it's all kinds of stuff that can happen, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your service, by the way. I just remembered that.
It's all good, man.
You mentioned you served. Thank you.
No worries. Brian's the war hero, not me.
Shut up.
But yeah, it's cool, man. And then, so what do you think about, AI helping? And so talking about the good part of AI, because I think it is definitely 99% for the good. And there's going to be those 1% of people that are not, but for like developing countries and the behavioral health industry, I think eventually there's going to be, obviously there will be a human psychologist in there, but they will have a AI thing that helps them log, helps them learn, helps them refine, learn new things about clients, or, hey, they said something that was kind of off from the last 60 times that we've talked. And if the person didn't catch it, then it'll relay it to them like, hey, did you catch this?
Yeah, there's already tools, AI tools being developed in that space. So I every year I speak at a great mental health marketing conference called Mental Health Marketing.
That's awesome, man.
It's very, very solid, very, very meta. And I think the name of his company is Commonly Well, and they're working on pretty much that, detection signs, and it blasts it out to like loved ones and their case managers.
Like if there's an issue, like, hey, we just noticed something.
Yeah, like how, yeah. And there's a lot of development in that space actually. So there's been credit cards. There's a credit card company, I forget the name of it, but it's a credit card company for people in treatment. And so you can basically track where they make purchases, and track their history. So like if they go to a liquor store, for instance, or they go to 7-Eleven and buy like a tall can or whatever, it'll alert the treatment center, for instance. And so there's different technologies here, already being developed and at play. And I think that's going to just continue to be evolved because, firstly, it'll save lives, but secondly, like, because we live in a capitalistic society, the addiction treatment industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So there's money there too. So they're going to be worked on. They're going to continue to be worked on.
Yeah. Well, anything like that, man. Most major diseases, I think it's there's too much money in treating people to get rid of the disease.
Yeah, that's the cancer conspiracy, right?
But
Austin, what's your take or thoughts on how we'll talk about good now again with AI or all this stuff? What's your thought on how it's going to revolutionize our education system? I mean, I have three young kids in elementary school, and right now it's all about the memorization of information to pass a test. Now we have AI will give you an answer within seconds on any topic. I think it's going to do good, and it's going to force the education system to make some changes so our kids are actually going and learning or know. I mean, AI is good, but you have to know what questions to ask it to get the right answer, right? So what's in your opinion, how is that going to change or like timeline or I mean, obviously the government or Department of Education is not fast, but what's your thoughts on that? Just go from there.
I have a lot of thoughts on that. So it depends if you agree with how our current education system is and if it like, I'm not going to go too like conspiracy theory here, but if the education system rewards free thinkers and critical thinkers, or if it molds 9-to-5 workers, to be employees and drones.
Do as you're told.
With that, yeah. So with that said, I would love. So it's already shaping the education system. There are teachers that are on either side of this, right? There are teachers that are like, no, AI is the devil. This is, we have to block it. All of it. It's done.
Yep.
That's a terrible way to think.
Yep.
Cat's already out of the bag. That mentality will get you left behind.
Yep.
There's the teachers that are embracing it and having mentalities like, I know you're going to use these tools to write the article. Do it. Here's how to effectively prompt. Then let's bring that essay back and let's talk about potential biases that the models have used in the text that's been generated. Let's talk about how and why it generated it. Let's apply different perspectives, like from a Shakespearean language, so they can use it to learn different styles of content. I would hope that it would force and encourage critical thinking. But I don't think that the education system as it stands right now encourages or wants critical thinking. And that's one of the most important things. So I think teachers have to embrace this technology. There's no other option. It will only set you up for success later in life to know how to use these tools and operate these tools. Kids are going to be learning it anyway, so why not embrace it and set them up for success and set them up in a world where they can apply critical thinking and say, like, is this AI generated? Is this human generated? Why did AI generate it this way? What can I take away from this? What are the signs and the little intricacies that this is AI generated? And how does that impact me? And how does that impact my reaction to this piece of content in whatever form of content that might be?
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I've been thinking about that a lot. I mean, thinking about the education system a lot.
Well, I think it's gonna, dude. It's already to the point now where you can just get a curriculum offline to meet the state or whatever state you're in requirements, and then the tutor, along with yourself, obviously, to put your kids through school could be AI, and it would be better than any school that you go to. So that's the challenge I think we're going to come across with that. And then even I'm in college right now. One of my professors, it's funny, she's embracing it. She's 100% for it. She's like, hey, as long as you guys cite the sources, and then make sure the sources are correct, because sometimes it'll give you a wrong source. As long as it's correct, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's awesome to see the kind of both sides, but then there's some that say, hey, don't use it, because if I catch you, then blah, 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 rules and restrictions and all that.
Yeah, I would say with what you said, Josh, on, schools using it and you could learn from home, which is true. But Austin, if you follow Gary Vee, I also think that kids need the social interaction, and they need to learn how to communicate peer to peer and have that emotional intelligence and how to read people. So I think there's a place, but I think we also, I mean, I love it when my kids go to school because I can do work, and I don't want to be around them. As much as I love them, I don't want them at home. I want them at school with their friends, learning, getting in fights if they need to. That's part of life. They need to experience that to grow up.
Yeah,
I don't want to be the, coddling them and not let them experience. So I think there's pros and cons to it all, but I think it could be used in the school to, like we just talked about it. I just wanted to mention Josh's point right there.
Yeah.
Be a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes both ways, man. And it's just like, if that was like the last, I guess, last option, you know what I mean? That's not the first, like, oh yeah, we're going to coddle the kids forever, but it's just another use case, man. And I think, what it definitely will be used for is because all parents forget stuff that was taught in school. So, hey, let's talk to our little buddy, ChatGPT, and find out the answer. But it's cool because it can also tell you the answer, but not only tell you, explain how it got there. So, I mean, just the shortening of the learning curve that it's going to do for people is going to be crazy, man. It's all about how you prompt it, dude.
100%.
Well, Austin, I think we're coming up on our time, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we got to do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Hey, for our listeners, Austin, what how can they find you? If we got I mean, we're small right now, and we're just trying to give out information out there to people. But wealth warfare podcast. We got some business owners listening. How can they find you if they feel what you are building for them for marketing can help? You want to throw a plug in there, and we'll post it too. But
yeah, well, firstly, thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity. It was a fun conversation. If you want to check out my tool, it's syllaby.io. That's syllaby.io. You can find me on any social media platform at Austin Armstrong. I'm the one with glasses. There is another Austin Armstrong influencer, a young buck out in Los Angeles. I'm the more business centric Austin Armstrong. So no matter where you're at, you'll be able to find me on there.
Cool. All right, guys. I think that's a wrap.
Nice meeting you. Nice talking to you, Austin.
Yeah, later.
Yeah, you guys too. Best of luck with the continued success of the podcast.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Awesome.
That concludes today's mission on the Wealth Warfare Podcast. Your guides have delivered crucial strategies for your financial and entrepreneurial journey. Stay engaged by subscribing and sharing your feedback. Until next time, keep your goals in sight and march towards victory. The war on wealth continues. Farewell, warriors.